Almost there.
Yeah, we're almost there.
We're almost there. I'll tell you when I see them commenting.
Okay.
Momo, that's
We'll
how we
just
know it's official.
oh
Okay, we're
yeah.
live. So welcome in everybody to our third interview, I think, as part of this online virtual Tucson. We're not in Tucson, so we're bringing Tucson to you. Today I'm live with my beloved friend Momo, who is live with us today from Bali. Isn't this incredible? Thank you so much, Momo, for agreeing to do this.
Pretty welcome. Pretty proud and honored to be here.
We're thankful to have you here. And if you've been with me for a while, he's not unfamiliar to you. Momo's one of my favorite people on the planet. And every year at Tucson, that's my time to see him in person. So I'm missing you this year. But this makes it a little easier because I get to see you live today. And if you don't know Momo, I'm going to introduce him briefly, and then this is just going to be a fun, casual conversation. You guys will have plenty of opportunities to ask him questions. We're keeping this super informal and casual. But Momo is the founder, the creator of Mercurius Designs. And I'm sure you know that Mercurius Designs is one of my favorite brands of jewelry and all kinds of incredible designs. I'm wearing a couple of my gifts from Momo over the years, my favorite things. And so today I wanted to bring him to you because I met Momo in Tucson for the first time. I don't even know how many years ago it was. Do you know? I think it was like
Yeah.
7. Does that sound right? 6, 7? Something like that. Who's
That's
counting?
good. Yeah.
and he is a force. He has traveled this world. He has been to I don't even know how many countries, and he sources stones himself. He finds the stones. He designs the jewelry. He works the metal. He's in Bali, which is really the epicenter of some of the most incredible jewelry design and handcrafted magic in the world. And so it's really a pleasure to bring him forward today and to introduce him to you if you're new. And if you're not new, you're going to fall in love all over again. And I want to tell you too, and I'd like Momo to talk more about it too, but Sage Goddess and Mercurius Designs have partnered. So you actually can find quite a few of his creations now on sagegoddess.com. In fact, we're launching, I think it's 20 new items at the end of our live together today on our website to kind of celebrate this partnership that we've created. So anyway, welcome Momo from Mercurius Designs. I'm so glad you're here.
Good. Good here. Let's get off the crack of dawn to get my game face on. Join you today. Yeah.
Well, you look fantastic. So please tell us more about you and your inspiration behind everything Mercurius.
13 or 14, I used to go caving called potholing back home. First through these tiny little birth canals, underground, and coming into these chambers full of crystals. And it was totally magic as a young teen that kind of blew me away. This whole secret kingdom under the ground, fantasy world of gnomes and wizards and magics and dragons. Scrape away the surface a little bit, and there's these sparkling treasures, and they come in so many different forms and shapes, colors, and it's a whole magical kingdom just there beneath the eye, beneath the surface. But this captured me as a youngster, and then later on when I was traveling, spent a good deal of my 20s and 30s, my 40s traveling, maybe almost 20 years on the road. I guess I was always interested in tribes and shamanism and just different ways of seeing the world. So this kind of motivated me to get out there and to go around. So as I traveled, I would pick up stones. It's a great way. It was before the internet, so the whole time of being myself a merchant adventurer. So you could go around, pick up treasures in one place and take them to another place and sell them, obviously. experience and keep the adventure going. And at the same time, visit tribes and get into different customs. So it's been a magical journey, and then onwards from there, I think it was from my first trip into Mexico in the late 80s or early 90s, I started carving stones. I'd been a bench silversmith. I'd done that as a kind of minor course at school. So working with silver and gold just as a complementary subject. But then from my early travels, I started carving stones also. So this was something very casual. I just have a pocket knife and some sandpaper, pick up some blocks. I started off with coconuts, and I don't have any samples here, but what I do have
That's awesome.
is amber. This is a piece of amber from Chiapas in Mexico. So this is fossilized resin from a pine tree that came down about 35 million years ago. And it becomes very hard and solid. And so pick up pieces of that and just start playing away while I'm traveling around and making little shapes and forms and wrapping them up in silver or in macrame. And then so I started off as handicraft things and selling at local markets, a little very casual, laid back in the day. And that evolved from that into making more sculptural pieces, and I've got a few at hand now. This is, I don't know if you can see this clearly. No, this is a Virgin de Guadalupe.
Yeah.
Also in amber.
That's incredible.
And very beautiful from the backside also, she shines through. So playing around with light and color and texture. There's another recent piece, which is a Kuan Yin out of green, red Mexican apple. In the sunlight it glows a bit blue. So that evolved, and I really still enjoyed the sculptural side of the business. It's more one-offs and more. There's more involvement in it, and it's not so commercial, not mass-produced. Each piece is kind of sort of by hand and individual and setting, and nice setting crystals and silver and multimedia. And that still drives my forward. But the travels took me all over the world. It goes through India, America, and every country has its own mineral riches, which is wonderful. So you can travel around, you can visit the markets and go mining yourself. Some places went off-road for weeks. I remember going on a bike trip across Africa, and before there was cell phones, before GPS, it kind of turn right at the tree and keep on going. Maybe somewhere under the mountain you find some of these blue stuff. That's what legend has it. Yeah. So off you go, and camping out, and there's lions and rhinos. And it's very naive sometimes, but also very passionate, very alive. And had lots of near-death experiences. I'm not sure why that was, but I was pushing the envelope just that little much. But here I am today, so lots of stories to tell from that.
One of my favorite stories. So I should tell you. So I'm a gypsy, right? So, and I can't sit still. So, and I break a lot of rules. So my team expects me when we're in Tucson to kind of be in specific places at specific times, and I'm never there, right? So one day they can't find me, and Brooklyn can always find me. I think Brooklyn has like spirit GPS for me. So, and of course I'm with Momo, right? I've stumbled into the tent. I'm looking at his incredible jewelry. I've already fallen in love with everything. I want to buy everything. This is years ago now. I think this is 7 years ago now. It would have been 7 years this Tucson. And so I'm looking down, I'm looking at all of his jewels, and I look up and I see him, and he smiles and I smile, and he pours me a drink. He introduced me actually to Kraken rum. I had not had the Kraken before. I had heard of it, but I had not had it. So maybe it's 10 o'clock in the morning. So he goes, "Hey, would you like a drink?" And I said, "I would." So So he pours me a shot of Kraken. I think you had a shot too.
I think I have to join you. There's a little bit of tradition at Tucson bar, and even total strangers, as long as they were kind of fascinating and flirtatious, as Athena would get poured a shot, even without having to buy anything. So
That's right. You don't have to buy anything to get a shot from Momo. It's true.
happy people, totally random people would turn up and go like, "Can I have a shot of tequila, please?" I never would have seen them before or anything like this. Like, well, yeah, sure. And those things would start off like that. So, I think our relationship started. So I have a little shot of Kraken. It's like not 9 o'clock in the morning here.
Cheers.
Full clearance for ceremony, but this is going to help clean up a little
Okay.
bit more again.
Do it to it. You ready? Here we go. Cheers.
Cheers, Antigone.
Okay, let's do it. To old times. That was good. Now you know this is going to get interesting.
You said you're going to do cocktails, and I thought, okay, 9 o'clock in the morning. I have to have the bottle of Kraken on the side because you've warned me that this is cocktails and talk. So cocktails and a chat. So I have the Kraken for a cup of Java as well. So
Yeah, no, keep your coffee going at the same time. That's right.
then I few bottles of tequila as well, but they're mostly decorative.
Yeah. There's also a cat named Tequila. We should tell you. This is Momo's companion. You may or may not get to see Tequila. She's elusive.
You may meet Tequila. She's just off screen at the moment. And I walk about, otherwise it will cut the signal from here. But she's
around.
It's on the computer generally when I'm computer or kind of lies across my neck when I'm in bed.
Yeah.
And she was called Corona to start.
Yeah.
So that. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there she is.
Tequila.
Hey, Tequila, we love you.
Gonna wave a paw.
She's a medicine woman. Look at her. I love you, Tequila. Mwah. Thank you, Melanie. That's right.
There's one member of the family here. Introduce you to while we're in the mood.
Yeah.
And this is Greta. She's
Hi.
not camera door. And she's you like
Hi, Greta. Oh, you're very beautiful, Greta. We've got a whole family. I love it.
that's part of the family. Yeah, we continue to expand the family. Some of my little calf friends. Or maybe we get into that later on.
Yeah.
The range of toads recently. I don't know if it's time to meet these guys or not, but
Are those the magic toads?
these are magic toads. Yeah, I know you like to lick your stone,
I do.
and these ones, good ones to lick. This is actually a chrysoprase.
Yeah.
Buff toad.
It's beautiful.
Quite a few other ones. So, yeah, going back to what we were saying before,
Yeah.
the travels to many magical exotic locations, and quite a few way out there experiences, not just with the near-death experiences, but with also the shamans and different tribes and their substances that they take, and kind of ethno-botanical voyage, which I don't know how much we can ignore in this conversation or not, but it's into different realms of consciousness. And I feel the crystals also do that. Different crystals, different minerals take you to different planes of being.
Yeah.
Now, I have people sometimes coming along and criticizing and saying, it's really not good to be taking the earth, that's where they belong. And there's a whole moral, ethical issue around and how, not only how they are minds, but the right to take this kind of lifeblood out of the planet at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have some into that, but my little theory at the moment, they're time to walk amongst people. It's definitely they're ethically sourced of mind rather than with explosives and pneumatic drills. But yeah, I think the energy is supposed to be walking amongst us at this time now. Do you have an input on that?
Well, I agree with you, you know, and we often are asked, shouldn't we just leave these things in the earth? You know, are we violating nature's timeline or by extracting them? And is it ethical? Is it moral? Is it spiritual? But you know, if you believe in Lemuria, for example, the legend is that the Lemurians knew that we would encounter these times, and that they actually encoded a lot of their wisdom of unconditional love and compassion and service and connection and unity into their crystals, and that we would find those crystals at a particular time in our human evolution when we actually needed that medicine. So I agree with you. I think it has to be ethical. It has to be, we're very particular about how and when and where we source our crystals. And when we find practices that are not in alignment, we don't source from those people or regions anymore. And that's happened. So we're very particular, but I think they are allies to us at this time on our planet when we're going through another ascension process, not unlike what's happened during the Lemurian civilization and the Atlantean civilization. I think there's another ascension process unfolding now, and they're allies for us. So I agree with you. Yeah.
A lot of people very new agey, but I definitely feel different crystal energies, whether that's soothing or electric or grounding or whatever in different styles. And I'm not particular. But then again, we work with crystal healing and sound healing. Everything is basically, in my view, a frequency, a vibration, which has different thicknesses, different solidity.
That's right.
You know, whether it's sound, light, or whether that comes into a more solid form and crystalline form. Sort of energy and wavelengths and different things. So I have around me, because I thought I could move around too much with the camera, but connect with the video here.
Yeah.
I have a few things around. I could take you maybe through a little journey into how some of the jewelry is produced. I don't know if that might be of interest to you or your viewers.
I will tell you, one of the questions people keep asking, Momo, because I do want to hear about that, so I want you to continue. The painting behind you. Okay, it's getting a lot of attention. People are asking about that painting. Is there anything you can share with us about the artist or the inspiration and who painted that? It's quite striking.
Yeah, that's the kind of on the corner of my screen. It's painted by an American guy called Tom. He used to live here in Bali. The fantastic painting. I loved it from a friend's house 25 years ago. Now, what I love about it is the colors primarily, but also it's the full underwater world. There's great fish in it, and just how he's managed to capture the rippling of the water. And then if you go a bit deeper, maybe you can see slightly better. Now, anyway, if you go a little bit deeper, it shows a man and a woman in an orange electric formation. And on first appearance, it's just a nice image. But then if you look a little deeper, you can see that the woman has her hands over the guy's eyes. And the guy is trying to part the woman's legs. Anyway, I read into it, which may not be what anybody else sees. I can't remember Tom's last name, but it was hanging in a friend's house for a very long time. And then I always admired it there when I said, if you ever want to let it go, please.
I see his arms now. I see what he's doing there. It's very, he's very cheeky, isn't he?
So there could be a whole metaphor for, male-female relationship. He parting her legs and she covering his eyes, and what that can mean, well, I'll let your viewers tell me what they think. But I do also partake in sub-aqua, scuba diving. Is also a big inspiration for some of my designs. A lot of my work you see has underwater elements, so very big octopus themes running through it. Octopus, squid, nautilus, piranha, jellyfish, all kinds of underwater things. So this also reflects a little bit of the underwater world. Now, another picture which is on the wall here, if you like. It's the viewers that in the art. I mean, where I live is actually like a museum, and maybe I can take you on a quick tour afterwards. But let me just see if
Ooh.
this one, and I call it Birth of Venus, but it's actually I've had this for over 20 years. It's on screen now.
Yeah.
But it's a complete trip. I don't get bored of it. Normally, you imagine that up on the wall, and then you'd stop looking at it after a while. But this has so much details and intrigue into it.
Unbelievable. Look at that. Unbelievable. You know, from far away, Momo, I could almost see Sanskrit. It almost looks like Sanskrit writing when you step away from it. There's a lot of like light code energy in that piece. Wow.
There's a lot, and there's faces and eyes and animals, and it's kind of abstract. This is also by another friend of mine who's living here in Bali, Bridget. She's moved back to Germany now, I believe. And again, this was hanging on their wall in their house for a long time. And
wow.
They said again, if you ever want to let it go, then
it's incredible.
But the whole house here is a little bit of a museum. Like people say, oh, you're very lucky to work with stones because stones are so light.
Yeah.
Rather than with furniture or with clothing where you need to have containers of stuff. And yes, like little stones that you have on a ring may be light, but when you get into stones, as I know you have, then they tend to accumulate. Now the house is full of rocks and minerals and stones.
Yeah.
The last back from Tucson, I actually brought back with me in my personal luggage quarter ton. Pieces of 50 pounds, pounds actually, 55 pounds each. So they kept slipping off the trolley, the airport trolley, airports and trolleys and airplanes. They kept on falling off, and each one had heaps of stones because it's generally here it's easier to deal with the customs on arrival and to be able to deal with the financial aspect of the importation directly rather than sending it by courier, which always seems to incur some random strange charges. But if you want, in a little bit, I can take you around the house if you have good signal and show you some other treasures because it's a real treasure trove.
Well, and and Momo, if you're open to it, not today, but in a few months maybe, it'd be really cool to see your shop in Bali. To have a look around and do another live with you, maybe in April, May, something like that. Just so everybody can see, because you have an incredible space in Bali. In fact, I think do you have more than one space now? You're expanding in Bali too, so.
Well, there's one space. It was another space as well, but I've moved out of there.
Yeah.
And there's no tourism here at the moment, and Bali really depends on tourism for its lifeblood. The hospitality industry. Oh, hello, tequila's playing with it. The hospitality industry depends on it. The restaurant, and it knocks on throughout the whole system. This handicraft, as you know, there's people making things for the whole tourist industry, and that's severely impacted now with the whole lockdown. We'd be closed down for a few weeks, but we decided to keep going to so we could pay staff, you know, to keep them with a wage happening.
Yeah.
And things have been going well with the whole crystal business. People seem to still want crystals at this time.
Yeah.
You know, very blessed. We're in a good location, whereas a lot of more popular areas before are completely dead. They cricket up and down the roads there, where the shop is still going good. Now I'm building a new workshop as well. I would have liked to have taken you around the workshop today, but we did the signal on the test run and it wasn't so good. And that's like drawers and drawers from different stones and surrounded by different minerals, shapes, clusters, whatever. But maybe at a later date you could do that. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, it'd be really fantastic because I think it will get people excited, and maybe we can start to, you know, get people excited about traveling again and coming, and because I think the tourist economy is so important. And I'm hoping in this year we'll start to see a reconnection and our ability to start traveling again. Yeah.
I really do believe so. It's strange not doing Tucson. This is the first time at this time of year that I've not been at Tucson, and when I about the amount of time I spent this, and I've been going there for 22, what are we now, 23 years as an exhibitor. That means that I spent 22, 23 months of my life in that city, which is more than I spent almost anywhere else in the world. I've said I've been traveling a lot of my life. I left England after university, but actually before university. I traveled for nearly 20 years, and apart from living in Bali, and this is the longest I've spent in one place due to the lockdown, in 35 years. But apart from Tucson, I've spent 2 years of my life in Tucson just doing the shows, and that's kind of a little bit unnerving. Or, I don't know what it is. It is what it is, but it's a strange fact.
Yeah.
All the same.
Hey, Momo, is your mom watching in England?
In England now, about 1 o'clock in the morning. So she's 91 years old now, and 1 o'clock in the morning is beyond her bedtime. But I will link her into the recorded bit so she can catch up.
Hi, Mom. I just want to say hi. I think it's really amazing. I heard that your mom might watch later, so I wanted to give a shout out to Momo's mom today in the UK. It is. It's late UK time, but you know what? Tomorrow, Mom, when you're watching, we're all saying hi to you from around the world. That's right.
Beautiful lady.
Yeah.
And feeling it hard with the lockdown, as a lot of people are globally, but more the isolation, not having contact with people, the enforced separation. But love you. Yeah. That's appreciated.
Oh yeah.
Around the world, my brother been living in Australia for like last 30 years. He's moved to Italy now. So shout out to him and his family. They have cousins in America. My boys are here, luckily, so that's great.
Your boys are in Bali right now? Are your boys in Bali?
They are, yeah. We got them in on the last day, and the same day, actually, that we came back from. The last time we saw you, we came back from Mexico. We were traveling around Mexico in our van, which is kept with you now.
It is.
Well, we need to talk about that at a later time. But we over a month in Mexico after the Tucson show last year, traveling around. The dream for Melanie. So we managed to realize that, and I've been going in the 80s and 90s, but I spent a long time not going there because a lot of my suppliers come to the show, so I get a little bit spoiled. So make connections on the ground, in the flesh on the first time, and then over the years going back, and then suddenly they pop up at the show, so you get a little bit spoiled because they're there at hand and you don't have to move. But I miss going to locations and going to dealing with things straight off, face to face. But I started to mention before, the world of the merchant adventurer or the global trader got eroded by the internet. I would be able to go to the mines, and I still do go to some mines and love it, especially in Namibia, where I saw some very special stuff. Maybe we come back to that in a minute. But now with the internet, you find what miners do. They can take a stone and put it online and sell it direct to the retail customer for full price. I go along there and buy a whole load and break the price down. And obviously they're not interested. It doesn't matter to them that you're on site, getting your hands dirty, you sweated and traveled for thousands of miles to get there. They can get the full dollar by just going on the internet. Yeah. So this whole profession of gypsy, traveler, merchant has been eroded. You can still go to some spots and do it, but you have to go more off track.
Yeah.
Do that, which is good. It pushes the envelope.
Yeah. You know what's amazing, Momo, is last year, it was March 17th that you came to, Momo's a Pisces, I should tell you, he's a Pisces. So he had his birthday, and then my daughter's birthday is the 15th of March, she's a Pisces too. And then on the 17th of March, Momo and Melanie, his partner, emerged in our parking lot. I'm not calling you out, Melanie. It's okay. You don't have to come on camera, but I adore you. She's super magic. Yeah, she's amazing. And so anyway, they emerged in the parking lot. And we kind of thought maybe something was happening, right? So I was up in my office. I run to the parking lot, right? Momo's here. Oh my God. So I'm running to the parking lot. And I'm hugging you, we take a picture, right? We share everything. Oh my God, it's so good to see you. I've got your van, right? You just came back from Mexico. And it was the next day that California completely shut down. I mean, everything, schools, business, everything. The 18th of March, we shut down. So it was like apocalyptic, your visit. I mean, it was the last bit of normal where I was hugging you and hugging Melanie and taking pictures. And the next day it was like, don't touch me, put your mask on, get away from me. You know what I mean? But I'm so glad we had that moment because it truly was, the sun was setting. It was the last day we had of like normal life in LA before everything turned around. It was so crazy. You were the alchemist, you know, you were there kind of transforming all of the energy. It's true.
It was so surreal. We were in Mexico and traveling around off the beaten path, doing kind of like hippie gypsy, this beautiful romantic break, and kind of little dream story. And then we did stories of this nonsense. And, you know, this had already kind of featured a little bit because Bali in China, we were getting a plane a day of tourists coming direct from Wuhan to Bali.
Yeah.
Well, it's normal thing. It's a destination from there. So throughout December, throughout January, and then while we were at the show, we start to hear stories about Wuhan being in lockdown and bulldozing the road. And then it's story. It's pure story. And, you know, story is generally only script. Because it doesn't really interest me so much. They're so far out of the reality of making news. It's never been a great friend. So we're down in Mexico and we're totally offline. You know, we're fishing villages, we're off with boats, dig the whales, like a touching distance away. We're down the mines, picking up fire opals, rainbow obsidian, and it's and visiting a town called Tequila. This is a place as well. You know, it's one of the top spots. They call it Pueblo Mágico. It's a magical city, and it truly is. I've been going there for 30 years and seen it develop. And you can go around the distilleries and have samples, and it tends to be quite a little. We sample quite a few different tequilas there, and kind of got stuck into that vortex. But anyway, we're down there, and the story. Yeah, and then we could carry on going through Guatemala down to Costa Rica and keep on going. Somehow We extended our visit. We added on a week. We added on a week, and then we get back to the States, and it's zombie apocalypse. It is totally surreal. Like the 101, the 110 motorways, highways. Hey, normally it's chock-a-block. You have to choose your time. A lot of your audience is from there, so you know this. You have to choose your on the roads. On the freeways, and there'll be one car or no cars on it at all, and this is during Russia. What hasn't?
Yeah.
We'd go to a store, and there would be either a queue outside or nothing inside, and it was so surreal. We contacted the Indonesian embassy because Melanie wasn't on a work visa then. She was going to have to come into Indonesia on a tourist visa. And the Indonesian embassy said, they're not going to let you in. It's a deadline. There's no more tourists being allowed in. So this is, you're going to have to go back to France. So forget about it. And it's led to some emotional...
No, I remember you telling me that Melanie was like, because you guys are very mindful and you're present and you're in the moment, so there wasn't anxiety, but it was sort of like, hey, it's so great to see you. Hey, Melanie may not be able to go back to Bali. It was like, wait, what? What's happening right now? It's so weird.
There was also the fact that maybe we weren't being able to get on a plane. We have a beautiful sister who I know that you know, Mika, there in LA, who we're staying with, who offered to put us up. He said, you can come stay with us, and she's got 2 beautiful little kids. That's no problem. This is like, they're going to flatten the curve. This is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now it's, we have friends who are having babies during this time, which is not flattening the curve, it's kind of bouncing the curve. And so for that offer, I'm not sure that you could have handled us for such a long extended period of time, but we would have been there with you, Athena, there with you as your neighbors for this whole year.
No, I know. Well, I would have been happy to have you with us, though. I would have loved for you to just move in. I have a really nice guest room that you've experienced before, and I would love to just have you here. So I would have welcomed you, but I'm glad you got home, though, because I was worried about you. And so Melanie is Momo's partner, and she's lovely, and you would adore her. And if you come to the shows next year, you'll meet her. She's magnificent. But it's amazing that we're a year out now, you know, it's just like, we're still here, but I'm holding space for whatever the evolution is that needs to unfold at this time.
I think it's time for building community. It seems to be a lot of pressure into people being separatists, you know, wear your mask, keep your distance, do your thing alone. And I think this is a little bit soul destroying. At the same time, there is pushback against that and not community happening. Now, here we're a little bit spoiled because there hasn't been really so much impact, especially in Bali, from the COVID story. So we are still allowed to mingle, to have groups. There is now a curfew, restaurants and shops are closing at 8, but up until that's a very recent addition. So we can still gather, and there is a lot of community action happening. I think this has to be the way forward, really. But at this time, you know, my boys came back on the day that we got back, is actually the day before, and they've been here. My son's at university now in Canada, but here in Bali, and that's a very strange phenomenon. Part of the whole university thing, my memories, is the whole social interaction, the sporting, the activities. And he's been very diligent at doing that online here, which is strange, you know. Even with Zoom, even with the ability to kind of virtually interact with people, it's not quite the same being able to hang out.
You know, my problem with it is I like to get into trouble. And it's very hard to get into trouble online. I mean, not the same way you can get into trouble in person when you're young. So, but you know what? I think that's part of the magic, is figuring out how we can still create some magic and some trouble in our own way. Yeah, you know, like this. We're creating some trouble right now. I think it's very fun. I don't have any more Kraken. I have one more drop. I did my whole shot. You know, I'm gonna give them some time, Momo, because they have some questions for you. So I'm gonna take your questions right to him, you guys. Information about Momo, your website. Can you talk about your website, and can you talk about where people can find you? So I will tell you, a lot of Momo's beautiful treasures are now at Sage Goddess. In fact, my team has a surprise. They've put another, I think, 24 of your items on sagegoddess.com, and those are going to go live at 5:30 p.m. in 10 minutes. So if you've been wanting some of Momo's treasures from Sage Goddess, those are coming onto our website. We've scheduled them at the end of this interview because we don't want you to leave. We want you to stay. And then when the interview is over, then you can go and shop and buy all the things. But can you tell us more about your website and where people can find you so they can interact with you?
Really happy to live with you now. So obviously the first place to look for all you viewers would be sagegoddess.com. There's going to be more and more things being added there, and hopefully some stage be able to have full range. So I encourage you to carry on shopping through there. I have my own website up and running, which is mercuriousdesigns.com, and my Instagram is Mercurious Designs also. So it's all been about the brand. I've been very shy as being a person behind the brand. It's always been the symbol.
Can you talk about Mercury for a minute and the meaning of Mercury for you?
So,
yeah.
Yeah, statue's sitting over there.
Yeah.
I have a big statue of Mercury as the Roman. I'll see if I can bring it over. I'll get my beautiful assistant to.
We see you, Melanie. We love you, Melanie.
Still crawling around in our hangover state, but this is a statue of winged Hermes Mercury, which has been in the family for some time. There used to be an old coffee table at home and holding the caduceus in his left hand is supposed to. Hermes is actually not just the messenger of the gods. He's actually one of the main Olympian gods, one of the main 12. So he's, for me, he is the messenger. He's part of the whole alchemical process. He's Hermes or Mercury, and he represents for me as Mercury as the element. You may be familiar inside thermometers, or is also known as quicksilver. So silver, when it's molten, when it's liquid, looks like Mercury does. It has this rolling around silver, very fluid, liquid metal feeling, but that's when it's hot, when it's molten. And Mercury in its room temperature stage has that same effect. So Mercury is both the god, the mineral metal, and the planet. And the planet which rules communication. Mercury, God, is also the god of trade, commerce, and communication, and thievery. So it's kind of amusing to me that Caduceus, and I only got the one that he's holding.
Yeah.
I do make one in silver as well with stones. So Caduceus has been taken over by the American Medical Association. It's been for healing rather than a symbol for thievery or trade, which it is. It was one of the Asclepius, which should have been the medical symbol.
That's right.
So maybe getting a little bit too technical. I do want to say, actually, I was thinking about this before, because when we did a little test video, I was very unshaven, swarthy, hobo looking, and Athena poked up and said, "Oh, you know what that is? That's Corona chic." Corona chic. First time I heard this experience, and that just kind of typified for me how Athena is actually alchemical goddess. She can turn something which is like a hobo into Corona.
But it is transformation. That's alchemy, right?
It's something which is really gross and tempting, something which is shiny and has a very good name. But yeah, that's moving away from Mercury a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have here some if I get it out. I'll just move the camera a little bit and see if that would be onto here. This is silver. When we get it refined, it comes into these little pellets. I don't know if you're capturing that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I can't see what's on screen, actually.
Yeah, we've got it. We've got it, Momo.
So silver, when it gets refined, it gets taken out of the ground, usually with rocks, and then it gets melted down. We make it into these pellets. When these are heated up, these look just like mercury, liquid metal, liquid silver, and it flows around. So that was one aspect of the name. I was thinking of it Silver Surfer, but mercury stuck from early days, and that's already 25, 30 years ago. So we all know Mercury as being also Mercury retrograde, and you had some talks about that.
Oh yeah.
As communication and not a good time for making decisions. And that's when, relatively speaking, the planet's moving backwards in reference to us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the middle of that right now, actually. Mercury's retrograde right now.
Yeah, that totally figures. That's why communication's been a little bit erratic
That's right.
last week. I've personally been finding it quite challenging.
You know, I was gonna ask you to tell one story today, if you'd be willing, because my favorite story you've told me is when you went to the desert and collected some Libyan gold, some Libyan tektite, and I told you I would never be able to go with you because I can't. I mean, I can't imagine. You were describing to me how your truck would be like upside down or almost vertical going into the desert because the Libyan gold is on the surface of the sand, right? Would you mind sharing a little bit about that? Because so Momo has harvested Libyan tektite from the Saharan desert, but I will never go with you.
There's a quick side story which is kind of relevant, but not that story, which is the one of going to Czechoslovakia to try to find Moldavite. Now, we can come back to the Libyan gold story afterwards. The Moldavite is actually restricted. It's considered to be a national treasure. It has a very defined drop zone. It only came down this one strip, what they call Bohemia, what used to be Bohemia, it stands for Czechoslovakia. So I went there naively thinking, okay, I can find a good amount there and get it off the farmers and the local people, the collectors there, because it's rare and it's getting rare. The price is kind of quite high, and I like to go to source to find things to get a good deal, but also to see where it comes from, and yeah, just to get a feel for the locality, because it's good to see and to feel the source of where things actually are. So I went there. And Czechoslovakian is not one of the languages that I have under my belt. I just speak some broken German, and it is pretty broken.
You speak French, you speak Spanish. I mean, your Spanish es perfecto. Es casi como fluentemente. So, but you also speak, how many languages do you speak? Because I've spoken Spanish with you. I've heard you speak French.
Yeah, I speak a few others. I've recently been learning Russian just to try and help my dementia, to help my memory and to expand. I speak Indonesian, Bahasa.
Yeah.
I speak some German, a bit of Italian. I don't know what, some Hindu.
Yeah.
But
okay, so no Czech yet. Okay.
We were okay, and I go to the area where this motorbike comes from. It's Prepelice. And I start hunting around for go into a local bar and I start asking the people. And I've got one sample with me, and very quickly there's a little crowd around me, and they're all going shaking their heads, talking to each other. And there's some guy who also speaks some broken German there, sort of communicating. And it's like, it turns out that it's illegal to have it. It's a national trade, and if you have it, then you're breaking the law. So there, my ideas are coming with like kilos and kilos, pounds and pounds of it were rapidly thrown out the window. So I went and started asking farmers, knocking on doors, and eventually I get directed out to a field. They go, right, what you can do is you can go over there, there's a field, and that's known to be, a bit of a drop zone. Kind of people have found pieces over there. And there's like, in the early summer, after the spring, after the rains, the field has grass, kind of knee-high grass in it. Now, Moldavite, I only have a little bit. I have a polished piece here. Anyway, Moldavite is bottle green. It's like wine bottle green. So what they're doing is they're sending me out into a field full of knee-high grass to look for little thumb-sized pieces of bottle green. Now this is the needle in the haystack. Now I'm not sure if this was just to get me out of there to send me off. Then this muddy field with grass, and then after a while I just have to start laughing. It's totally impossible. Yeah. It's not like, go to this mountain and you will find a rock there. It's like, no. So that was actually one of my failed missions. I really like that.
Did you come home with any? Did you have any?
Did you connections with some people who have it, and I still have a stock of it. But Moldavite recently has been going through the roof. I don't know if you can get hold of any now, but
we've had a hard time. Every source we've ever had is out. Yeah.
It's out. It's been doubling. It's become rare as hen's teeth. So the pieces that I have, I'm treasuring even more. I do little carvings out of it. I don't have any. One ruby here, which I can see if I can hold up to the screen. I don't know if that's in focus. This is a Moldavite green Tara set in 18-karat gold, and she sits actually in a Libyan desert. No, she doesn't sit in there. She
Don't drop her, Momo.
Live on screen to thousands.
Oh my God!
This is going to go into a string with some meteorite beads to keep that whole cosmic terrestrial interface thread. Because for me, Moldavite, I've been talking a little bit before about energetic compounds. Moldavite is super energetic. It's a little bit spiky actually. I'd wear it for a long time. It says wearing a ring. Go again. Marketing. It's like me ring. Yeah.
No, but you were the one, Momo, who taught me, because the piece I got from you, which I still have I have a little altar of my most precious things in my bedroom, and you taught me the dark lines are the actual meteoric material, right? Like where you actually have residue of the collision. Yeah.
In the Libyan desert gold, because it's a lighting.
Yeah.
You can't really see it so much. Moldavite will have little pits and pockets and holes, possibly, and formations. But in the Libyan, maybe I can go grab one or send my beautiful assistant.
Come on, beautiful assistant, we love you.
Swimming across the floor, some Libyan rough.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Back door to the office in a black bag in chunks. Yeah, the darker grey material that you find in there is supposedly the dust from the Libyan, from the meteorite. And the thing, the Libyan, which is really strange, and they were looking for the longest time because the Libyan has a lot more material of it than the Moldavite.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of it. And they were looking for the crater that this meteorite must have formed on impact with yeah,
Uh-huh.
to make such a lot of material. So that they're figuring out the crater would have been maybe 30 miles, 50 miles across. Like, it's huge. It was a game changer. Now, I don't know if any of you, the American domestic viewers, would have been to the Meteor Crater, which is in Arizona, out east of Tucson.
Uh-huh.
Big crater there. You can actually go and see the physical crater. It's a beautiful formation. Now, the beautiful assistant is not coming across the.
Come on, beautiful assistant.
Today, and I was unprepared. There we go. A little repeats run at another time. But I was saying they were looking for this crater which should be visible from space. This huge thing, and they could. This was a mystery for a long time. The latest theory is that the meteor not actually hit the ground; it exploded in the lower atmosphere. It was a big blast, and it still blew. This is the force of like many thousand nuclear bombs going off in the lower atmosphere, and that made such a heat and such an impact. It hit the ground and fused. Well, the ground, the sand, lifted into the lower, fell back down to the ground as the glass. So I have chunks. The biggest chunks I have are like 2 fistfuls, like a few pounds size big. But they are on the surface of the desert, and you can see each piece. And I can't show you. I just shows a story of where the wind and the sand blasted it, and where the water, when there is some water there.
Yeah.
Roads, unfortunately, or fortunately, the way you look at it, it's in a very conflict zone on the border of Libya and Egypt.
That's right.
You can go there even when there is ability to move around the planet. It is not a place for tourism. There are some Russian dealers who I deal with and some local people who deal with. And I think the Russians are going down there, exchanging some of their hardware.
Yeah.
Awesome. But it's not something that's mined. It's something built up off the surface. Now with other meteorites, you can maybe go around with either a metal detector, because they're very high ion content, and a metal detector going around over the surface, and they will ping. Or I've noticed some people dragging big electromagnets behind each to try to clunk them up off the surface. What some of my favorite meteorites are from Gibeon in Namibia. They have beautiful, beautiful pattern. Unfortunately, I wasn't quite prepared today to do the full meteorite spiel. But if you
we should do another part of this where we focus on meteorites.
Because they have cut into them and etched them. They have this beautiful pattern which has not only a beautiful pattern but a beautiful name. It's called the Whitman-Staton pattern. Maybe you can look up. It has this lattice formation of metal crystalline crisscross, and it looks like a postmodern painting. This is what's inside the meteor.
Yeah. I wonder what the explanation for that is. I always like to know why.
Apparently, the meteorite crystal, the meteorite cooled at half a degree every 100,000 years or something. It's so hot coming down through the atmosphere. And that is the metal crystals formed.
Yeah, so it forms as it cools.
Feeling like this, because I'm sure some of my facts aren't 100%. But
no, but we'll sort it. You know what? I thought you were grabbing a meteorite and you were grabbing tequila. So I was like, wait a minute, is this a meteorite? No, it's tequila.
I could go off screen quick and rummage into the office that's just here and grab a few pieces, but
no, we'll do it next time, Momo. We'll do it next time.
I'd be happy. I was going to do a quick introduction about how some of the jewelry is made, if that could be interesting to any listeners.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
So that's just something I did prepare. So I showed you some of the silver balls, but I wanted to show a little bit how we process, how we make a piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
So I can't see the comments because I'm just.
Yeah, I will filter to you. I'll let you know.
Okay, so what we have here is a block of wax. It comes in a variety of colors and shapes, but basically we get a block of wax, which is usually this green wax is what we like, and it usually comes in the size of a small brick. So we'll carve into this with a knife, the hanging motor drill, and with the soldering iron to stick bits back onto it to shape it into an initial formation. So here's one I prepared earlier, which is in the shape of one of the skulls. He's just dropped off screen. So we cut the block and shape it slowly, and make the shape that we want. And then we finish that off and make it nice and smooth. So here's another one. Here's another one. So these are just waxes. And then the waxes we will pour into a silicon mold. So this is a silicon mold. And we pour the wax inside and make a cast of that.
Wow.
The heat cast of one of my designs called the condor. An archaeological relic when it's in the resin. And then we pop out the wax. Pop the wax out carefully, which I'm not doing. Carefully, have the wax here.
Wow.
And then we make many waxes and we put it into a tree. Each one have a wax on it.
Yeah.
Put it into and cast it. Then out of the cast, out of the tree, will come a cast piece.
Wow.
Or like this. And then we have to polish that up and rub it down, set in stones, and do that whole process. But we were talking a little bit before about alchemy and how I know you have a whole alchemical program coming along. But alchemy, for me in this business, I feel very blessed and very passionate to be able to continue, doing this business, and it's being able to support me and support a whole lot of craftsmen who really are the backbone behind me. Is the alchemy aspect is to be able to take a stone and to shape it, doing the whole lapidary, the carving. We saw some carvings before, but even just to shape a stone from the rough block into a wearable piece of jewelry. That's the whole alchemy there, going into the ground, going under the ground, being a gnome, grabbing it from there, fighting off dragons, bringing it to the surface, shaping it, and then putting it into jewelry. Then there's the aspect of shaping metal as well, taking I don't mind the silver, but shaping the silver into the granules, melting that down, casting it, shaping it, forming it. So there's the whole transformation from the rough into the finished, and then the whole intention that goes behind the creation of the piece when it comes into what are we going to do, the whole design aspect. A lot of that is inspired by nature, by the shamanic voyaging, by the underwater world, by the forest, by the tropics where I live here, by traveling around the world and on a shamanic and tribal inspirations that I come across there. So there's a whole voyage, and then the creating of a stone, of a piece, has a lot of passion as well. You have to choose the stone, you have to choose the design, put the two together, and voila, we bring it to the people. They're all very, very small batch, limited edition pieces. So
yeah, and the result is, Momo, pure magic. I mean, every piece I have from you, and I have about It's probably close to 24 pieces now in my personal collection. Is every year we start off with the Kraken, and then the shopping happens, and then um, but the alchemical part of it is really, really powerful. And I also think that you experience that when you wear it, that it supports your own internal alchemy. When you have one of these pieces that was born of the transformation from concept through intention to manifestation, or through the smelting and the melding of the metals into the philosopher's stone, or whatever the final creation is, I think people experience that as alchemy when they wear it. They really do.
Yeah. The pieces are made with intention. They're made to last, to be talismans, to be amulets, to be heirlooms. It's not a rapid dismissal kind of thing. I don't know if I can show a couple of magic ones as well.
Please, I would love it. Please, anything you have. Yeah.
Promoting, but
no, you're not promoting. We want to see everything you have tonight.
Of the older magic ones which are featured, I don't know if you're featuring them online yet, but they're available through Athena or through myself.
The wands are not online yet, so you have to stay tuned for that. They're not online yet.
The dragon head, we do them with a variety of animal totem motifs, and they go down through eyeborers and stars, tentacles, with different stones, mold buckets. There's a lady called another dragon.
Ooh, look at the bumblebee on that one. That's nice. Didn't see bumblebee before.
Yellow theme piece, and through the dragon, a lot of flight, all the symbols of flight and the energies of the stones are ethereal there. But I want to show, if I may, a couple of new designs that I have here. You've seen here. Now, you've seen the snake head before, now putting eyes in the snake. But this is with scales.
Ooh, this is new. New.
It's brand new.
Is this? This reminds me of Chola. This reminds me of Chola from Joshua Tree.
It is actually like the skeleton of a cactus, which I have here as well, which you're not supposed to take away, I don't think. But skeletons of the are very interesting.
Yeah. Ooh, that's beautiful.
The Faro and the Chola and stuff like this. Beautiful, beautiful internal formation, considering that most of them are made up of water, of liquid.
Yeah.
So anyway, this piece based on scales and active skeletons. Just a new design. I think to put in the next shot, maybe some little stones, chips inside that can rattle as you move it.
Yeah, please do that. I want that. I want that.
So there's the scale line, and then there's a new hexagram.
Ooh, look at that. Oh my god. Mind is blown. Mind is blown. You have beeswax. You have...
Yes. Beeswax, hexagonal formation, which that's another newbie. So as you see all the way through these, and I may put some little in the future. There's an eagle one.
Oh yeah.
And the eyes in as well now, which is another upgrade also. So there we go for another blatant.
I had not seen those, Momo. Those are amazing. I love both of those designs so much. Oh my goodness. Mind is completely blown.
What did you have ones of mine? I have a beautiful, beautiful piece of that you gifted me, Peru. It sits on my altar also. It's not a magic one, but it's a definite weapon of self-preservation and it's such a powerful piece also. I love that. It's very dear to me.
Well, and my friend who made that before I gifted to you passed away this year, so it's been quite a transition. Yeah, unfortunately from COVID. So we've lost a few of our artisan friends this year. It's been very hard, very heavy. But I'll tell you, I treasure his pieces more than ever because now the entire band of artisans who was crafting for him, it's dispersed. So we're not able to get those crafts right now, unfortunately, because, you know, it's a lot of times when you have one person who's really working with all of the artisans and you lose that person, you lose the network. And so we're having a hard time getting those pieces made now.
You did name so that I know, or maybe.
Yes, Victor, and I will connect you offline too with his wife, and so that maybe you can help me. I don't know if you're planning to travel to Peru, but maybe we can reconnect that group of artisans because it's he was really the person who held that together. Mm-hmm.
Peru, do some medicine journey, to do some retreats, to pick up some stones as well. You have a new shipment of Peruvian stones that like fresh off the boat. Coming in there.
I'll meet you in Peru, and we'll do some plant medicine, and then we'll go and repair these networks. We'll do that. Oh yeah, in good time.
Questions from some of your.
Yeah, so do you guys have questions before we sign off? We've kept you for longer than we thought, but you know, Momo and I have a lot to talk about. So there's no shortage. They're all just saying how amazing everything is. They love the honeycomb design on the wand. That's a real favorite right now. They just love the hexagons. They're complimenting you on the workmanship. It's really, really beautiful. One question, I'll tell you, Momo, the main question we get is, what is your favorite stone of all of the stones?
I've been through a few, and I'll go through some of my older favorites and come to the current. I started off really digging in amber and Mexican minerals a long time ago. This was in the late 80s, early 90s. And brought some stones to the market that were unheard of at the time. Obviously, they've become more household names since then. I was dealing in amber from a very early time, and then I kind of transitioned from there into rainbow obsidian, which I still dearly love as a very important psychic stone, especially if it has all the colors there. It's been used for a very long time from magicians, spears in obsidian, drying for thinking into the future for psychic voyaging.
Yeah.
I really love rainbow obsidian. But from there, I went to far opals, which is still one of the stones which I very dearly love. The play of color in there, the energetics from there, the whole rainbow effect. Yeah, I've never been such a fan of precious stones. And so recently, where I started to channel that they hold pure tone. Like if you're working with crystals, if you're working with light, if you work with a pure light that is hitting certain chakras and hitting certain meridians for healing purposes. The precious ruby red and emerald green and sapphire blue hit these pure tones, but they don't resonate with me energetically as being something I like to see. I like to see more of a play of color, a chatoyante, a vibrancy, a play of light, which you don't get in the precious stones unless you go into things like cat's eye chrysoberyl or things which have more of a dance of color. Yeah. So I was saying from rainbow obsidian to far opals, and one which still has me enthralled is fire agate. Is not so well known still. It's another Mexican stone, also present in Arizona. You know, some of the nicest fire agate actually come from Arizona. But not only does this have the most interesting play, color, and light, it's one of the biggest bitches to cut and polish. Cut it in a dome on cabochon. Yeah. You can't cut a top onto it because the light is folded into there like a sheet of paper that is scrunched up. So you have to really dig deep into those folds to release the light, and then if you go like a hair's breadth too deep, the light will switch off. Yeah. Even in the polishing process, the light is off again. So it's a very, very magical stone in its colours, but it requires such delicacy and finesse in its polishing.
Yeah.
What would be my journey from there? I went to South Africa and Namibia, where I started to spend more time as well. Yeah. And I got Switzerland, and it comes from an interesting little place called Hot as Hell. Yeah. And it is what the place in the Kalahari is called. I call it the Calamari Desert, as I'm kind of flippant and like calamari. Yeah. But
a little different.
I went out there on my bike on the first trips, and it was 120 degrees in the shade. I burnt my legs on the tank of the motorbike getting on that, going across the desert to try and find it. Now, this is not something, unfortunately, I've managed to mine myself because it comes from a manganese mine. There's a conveyor belt going through the mine, the Wessels mine, at about 30 kilometers an hour, where they're just throwing on lumps of manganese, which gets crushed up, which is a process for making steel. They do stop the production for, and I know this is a mineral which does to your heart, is for rhodochrosite. Yeah. It also comes from a mineral which is formed from manganese.
That's right.
Pockets of rhodochrosite, they apparently stop the production and these pockets of rhodochrosite, they form into crystalline formations, which is very rare, to like those crystals of rhodochrosite, deep red, ox blood rhodochrosite. But sugilite, which is
I love sugilite.
Purple, it's such a rich purple, which is like a divine stream, and it comes into this luscious purple. Was and still continues to be one of my favorite stones as a color, as a vibration, that mixing with chrysoprase, with jet, or these very jelly, they're very succulent tones. But I still love the play of light. I would say one of my favorite stones now is also another Namibian, is petersite. Petersite is an asbestos formed mineral which has a dance of light, a little bit like tiger's eye, but a lot more complex. A little different colored, different directions of tiger's eye, all composite together. So that's one of my favorites, and I would say energetically, top of my list would be Brandberg crystals.
Me too. Me too.
Area called Brandberg Mountains in Namibia, and they tend to be a combination of amethyst and smoky crystals, which quite often alternating phantoms throughout the crystal, sometimes mixed with hematite flecks and lepidochrosite, very often in hydro, water bubbles, and for me, energetically, they are like your source of light and heart, and I can probably have one just behind me.
Do you still have your elephant carving? Your elephant was carved out of sugilite, Momo, or was it carved? Do you remember your elephant that you showed me in Tucson like 3 years ago? Or he had this carving, you guys, and it was a Ganesha, I think. Do you remember your elephant?
Yeah, that piece is totally magic. My good assistant just ducked into the back office to get it, but in the meantime, I can show you another. Your good people there to guess what this is, and maybe we could give it a prize for.
Ooh, that would be fun.
What this is, and maybe.
Okay, Momo's playing games now. Do you know what this is?
Little carving of Indian. It's another trait.
He's got the ultimate show and tell. Okay.
That's little show and tell. Yeah, I never looked very too far.
No, they love show and tell and they love prizes. They're here for it, Momo. The brand.
I don't know if it has a solid pillar of amethyst and smoky coming down into double-ended, double-turreted scepter.
That's a scepter, darling. That's a double terminated Brandberg scepter. Holy shit.
Yes. We go with what we can get. This is another scepter which has such a. The lighting probably isn't catching it here. Maybe if I hold it up to the window behind me.
Let me please provide my shipping address to you, Momo.
You want favorite pieces? It's like that octopus that I think you're wearing. Yeah, you're wearing now. The octopus with the opal. That's a nice piece of opal and biggest piece, the one with the purple green opal that you have on your pendants. Asina managed to coerce that from around my.
Well, I don't know how much I coerced it. He was in my kitchen. We were having breakfast, and of course, Momo is bare-chested, and all he has on is this. He's got pants on, so it was appropriate. But I couldn't stop staring at it. I mean, of course, it was him too. And so I kept telling him how much I loved it. And so he went on his way and went home. He stayed with me on his way back home. And so this arrives in the mail like a week later. And I screamed. Because it's a purple fire opal from Mexico. It's my favorite thing, Momo, you must know. But you know what? One day I will return it to you after having loved it a great deal with a big hug and tell you how much I love you. But it has to be in person.
This is something I'd stayed at Athena's beautiful place. And she said, oh, wow, that's so nice. And it was like, it is my piece, But I could see how much she loved it. And she's been such a beautiful host, and she's such a beautiful person. I really appreciate her. So I sent it to her just like unannounced, out of the blue, just stuck it in the mail. And here we go. Do we have it there? No, it's in hiding. That's very strange. The piece out of the Libyan desert as a Ganesh on the table.
We want to see, well, it's okay if you don't have it, but we want to see all the things you're looking at. Ooh, yeah, there you go. Oh my God.
But it's a Libyan desert glass. And, don't have a torch with me, a flashlight, unfortunately.
No, we can see it. No, we can see it perfectly, Momo. That's incredible.
In the style of a Tibetan wrathful deity. I haven't seen it in silver. It's probably going to be in gold, actually.
That needs to be in gold, yeah.
This off the Libyan very nicely. The Libyan for me is a lot softer energetically than Moldavite. Did we touch on that before? It's like Moldavite's sweet little sister.
Yeah.
I find it's nice, it's cuddly. Here's another little.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Elongated down, and these are more one-off pieces. What you find online is more limited edition pieces, but these are even more limited edition. These tend to be one-off pieces. This is that's Switzerland.
That's Switzerland? Oh my God.
You see what I mean about juicy and luscious? So we're not in good light there. We're actually.
But you don't see sugilite that color anymore. It's all manganese now, so you're really not seeing that intense purple. Libyan gold?
Libyan gold as well. These are very powerful, energetic pieces.
Yeah.
The interlaced triangles, the Merkaba, obviously energy going up and down. male and female, all the elements. It's amazing. He's sitting somewhere on the table, but
it's okay. Next time we'll give Ganesha the full show. Oh my God.
Here's a dragon. So these are more folly pieces. These are pieces that I enjoy. I'm passionate about making. I even carve like little. This is a little onion out of Momo.
Look at that! Oh, she's beautiful. Look at the detail, you guys. Oh my goodness. Wow, Momo. That's just crazy.
But obviously, the Libyan was carved, most well known, is carved into a scarab.
The scarab, yeah.
This is a moldavite one.
Yeah.
But King had a scarab carved out of nearly 3,500 years ago. Is that right? Or
Yeah.
4,000.
Close to 4.
From Libyan golden textile, I call it, rather than Libyan desert glass. It sounds better. Golden textile. So and a big pendant.
Yeah.
You know, bigger than.
Yeah.
There's almost a hand-sized pectoral plate, they call it.
Right.
So carved into that with wings, a little bit like this design here.
That's right.
With the scarab made out of the golden textile. So it was found and used in jewelry already 4,000 years ago.
Yeah, that's really the story with Libyan gold, right? Is that King Tut had that piece carved for his death plate. It was his chest plate for his funeral ceremony to help him to the afterlife.
It's a symbol for Kepri, for Ra, the sun god, to voyaging into what's beyond the visible. So yeah, that was it. So that's a little flash at some of the pieces that are lying around. Let me field some questions if there are some.
They're asking, what tools do you use for your practice? What are the most important tools for you?
Tools for creation of jewelry.
No, tools for you, your journeys, your practice.
Well, obviously, we started to make some one-off designer smudging fans, which are very amazing. Melanie's been designing those together with me and setting them in with little slots of vine, precious stones with some of the I use for jewelry, putting them into the handles as well of vines, feathered cow skins, ostrich skins, and I love making more one-off pieces. Obviously, the biggest pain in the ass also to put online because they need photography and descriptions each of the one. And I do for the limited edition piece because they're being run 20 at a time or something. But to do that for one piece is I find a little bit challenging because I don't have a big staff who just say, hey, please just photograph that and do. Let's see this. This is a one-off fan used for smudging, for magical, for work. And this is set with
that's beautiful.
An eagle, with the turquoise, with a green man here, with the green man, with a pentacle, with a vine slice.
Ooh, nice.
Ammonite.
And that's ostrich on there?
Ostrich.
Yeah.
And a piece of amethyst in the point. So that's one of the. Here's another one. With an ostrich, with an owl, and
that's beautiful.
Arimar, rainbow moonstone, eye of horror. Yeah.
Wow.
More fantasy pieces, which I.
These are incredible. And so what kind of wood are you using for the handles on those?
It's vine also.
It's vine.
Much like vines. It's not that particular vine. It's a vine grows here around some of the fig trees, the banyan trees. It can be a type of, I'm not sure what the English word for it is. I have a lump of it Probably enough sitting right here.
Okay, so that's not bee copy. That's a vine that grows in Bali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
It looks like bee copy.
At the handles for the fans, for some magical ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to get a good length, a good proportion of it to fit into that. Did we have any guesses on the magical show and tell?
Oh, they guessed that it was an ancient horn. Ancient horn.
That's a bit too flimsy. Ancient horn. Not even right. But you need to be more accurate to be into the game.
So what was that? Do we have an answer?
It's actually a hippopotamus tooth.
Are you serious?
It's real hippo tooth here again, and it is big. You know, you think of hippos as being, you know, they have this big yawn, and they show like a couple of little front teeth, they're all cute. They actually, tequila's, but they actually, they're one of the big five in Africa, and they can be very deadly.
Yeah. Well, now we know why.
This is a little hippo tooth, which I'm going to make into a little necklace, I think.
Or a wand. It would be an amazing wand. Hi, Tequila. Now she's being, you know, she's showing off now. She's comfortable with us, so now she's...
There's some little ones is warthog teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a hand span, it's 8 inches long or 6 inches long or so, as handles, for some ones.
Yeah, that would be neat too. Mm-hmm.
They want to.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, they only guessed, someone guessed a mammoth tusk.
Mammoth is close, but mammoth is elephant. Hippo is slightly different ones. So it's good to have a guess.
Yeah, I don't think we would never have guessed that. We're not experienced enough, I don't think. If someone got it right, you can tell me. Someone guessed saber-toothed tiger tooth.
Well, saber-toothed tiger tooth would have been about maybe up to 12 inches or so. Now this is more like 20 inches.
20 inches for a tooth.
Think of like an elephant tusk or something like this, but this is a hippo tooth. Oh, she's playing with the fence.
No, you can't have that, Tequila.
What way to get her off?
That was awesome. She's not a kitty. I see you, Tequila. No, she's waiting. Look, she got down low because she's waiting.
Coming in there.
That's right. I see her. And then the other question was, so you're a Pisces sun. What is your moon sign or your rising sign?
A story that, you know, I tried to get the precise time of my birth from my mother.
Yeah, it's too bad she's not live. We could ask her live. We could say, "Come on, Mom. When was you born?"
Well, the thing is, she doesn't know. Apparently, my joke is that she wasn't there, but I think they pumped her so full of drugs or something that she wasn't sure. And as it was quite a long time ago now, as well, that when I pushed her on it, she just messed up a number, which I have to go on. So maybe I back to it, you know, every hour or so to count and then see which fits the most, is the most complimentary on that.
So what do you think it is?
The latest theory is 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
So I'm gonna let you figure it out.
I'll calculate it for you. I'll tell you guys later. I'll run his chart. I know his birthday, so I'll calculate it. We'll sort it out later. Look at Tequila. She really wants to be on camera now. She's not shy anymore. Look at her. Tequila.
Yeah, she wants her wings.
I know. Well, I want to thank you. This was so much fun. I want to thank our community for being here too. They've been here the whole time and very excited to see you tonight. So thank you. I appreciate you so much, and I just love you, and I have missed you so much. We should have had our time this week, but next year, God willing, we'll be together, and I'll look forward to that. Or maybe Denver if we're lucky. Yeah.
But
Um,
there's saying that maybe the show might happen later on in the year as a physical show.
yeah.
I think what you're doing here is so good for so many people to be able to experience the wonderful world of gems that you would, normally be going to and doing your live casts of
Yeah.
the show. But this will get people, just there for a little flavor of the whole thing. But maybe do another virtual Tucson or a virtual Denver or a virtual something. I can see this growing.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Wonderful for your audience to experience some of this, and I'd love to chat or maybe to do another little story at another time, or maybe to explore the world of crystal healing or sound healing.
Yeah,
or
me too. Me too.
podcast or something.
One of the things you may not know, Momo has a clear quartz didge. He has a didgeridoo made of clear quartz, and you've never heard anything like this in your entire life. I mean, that was one of the most incredible sound experiences of my adult life. So that would be dream come true. Do you have your crystal didge at the house, or is it at the shop, or where do you have it?
Sound healing thing last night, but I wanted to share, while we're sharing stories, a quick story of one of the most moving didgeridoo stories that I have actually is when I was in Australia and I recently learned how to play. I came back from the outback from the book, and I was doing a little tour, and I was busking in Perth in Western Australia.
I love Perth.
Suddenly, this woman interrupted me. She was crying. You don't generally interrupt people, and she was crying, and she said, my son is deaf." She had a little kid with her who was about 7 or 8 years old. "My son's deaf, but he can hear you playing." And the first thing he heard, and he could hear the didgeridoo, the vibration, the sonic resonance. You can actually feel it as well as hear it. So he could hear it, and then afterwards I went around a few deaf schools and played there, and people could really feel it. So that's a whole another dimension of the sound healing. But that was so moving.
Wow.
To have first oral experience.
Wow.
I've had a few. I now know why the Aboriginals, I think behind the door of one of the rooms, why the Aboriginals did not have crystal didgeridoos, because I've broken a few of them. This latest one I have here has had to be cut down in size because it's been broken a few times. Since now almost half the size that it started off being.
Wow.
I might be able to give you a quick blast if you might want that.
Yeah, please. Please, please, please.
Let's see. The cut down version.
Wow.
I think this is the same. No, this is the same one I had with you.
It is.
Very embarrassing. In the dark, I took it out to play and smashed it on the ground. But still, you need to play. I'll give a big couple of minute blast. Looking for Yeah, Christmas of that compared to a wooden one. Wooden one has tremendous resonance as well, but this is got a special piece, and it goes together with all the other crystal toys. And we have crystal bowls, crystal tuning forks, crystal pyramids is one of my latest favorites as well.
Oh yeah.
So
thank you for playing the Didge. I'm so grateful. I wanted everybody to hear that. I didn't expect that. That was a great surprise today. Thank you for bringing that and playing it.
Thank you for everything. I so much appreciate you, and thank you to your people, your followers, and everyone out there. And have a blessed evening and continuation. And hopefully we can sometime soon.
Yeah, no, to be continued. And thank you, and I adore you. So we'll do a part 2 maybe in a couple of months. You and I have so much to talk about. I mean, we can just keep going and going and going and going. So to be continued. And as Momo was saying, we have a lot of his incredible jewelry and pieces at sagegoddess.com. We added 20 new items today, and they're brand new at sagegoddess.com. So Hannah, who's moderating for us, Hannah will post the link for you if you'd like to shop Momo's incredible pieces at sagegoddess.com. Hannah, if you wouldn't mind posting the link. And our code for 19% off today is GemShow19, and you can apply that to everything that Momo has at sagegoddess.com. And we love you and we appreciate you, and we will so look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you everybody for being here too. Thank you to Melanie for her magic behind the scenes. We love you too. I miss you. I can't wait to hug you too. And thank you. Cheers. Here we go. To be continued. Thank you, my friend. I'll see you soon. Good night, everybody. Thanks.